There's a vampire in Marty Supreme, not metaphorically, an actual vampire that Josh Safdie cut from the final film because he thought we could handle it. And that deleted scenes explain everything about why this movie uses Tears for Fears in the 1950s America, why it feels like a fever dream, and why Timothy Chalamet might have just ended the decade-long debate about who inherits Scorsese's throne. Let me explain the madness. A ping pong movie. That's what they sold us. A motivational sports drama about a shoe salesman who becomes a world champion. The kind of film you skip on streaming. Except this is a Josh Safdie, the man who made Uncut Gems, a film so anxiety-inducing that people left theaters feeling physically ill. When the Safdie brothers split creatively, the question wasn't if they could survive alone, it was how spectacular would the crash be. Benny Safdie tried with The Smashing Machine, mixed reviews, audience disappointment. Even Dwayne Johnson's performance of the year couldn't save it from the inevitable comparisons to Arnold Aronofsky, the wrestler. So Josh had everything to prove. Here's where it gets really interesting. Marty Supreme is set in 1950s America. Eisenhower, post-war optimism, the birth of consumer culture, but the soundtrack, pure 1980s. Tears for Fears, New Order, Peter Gabriel, Alphaville. This isn't a quirky director indulging his Spotify playlist. This is Safdie weaponizing time itself. Rainer Werner Fassbinder did this in Berlin Alexanderplatz, placing Kraftwerk in the 1920s. The technique creates cognitive dissonance, a feeling that the past and the future are collapsing into each other. And when you add Daniel Lopatin's One Tricks Point Never Score on top, you are not watching a movie anymore. You are in a trance state. Werner Herzog's trance cinema from the 1970s reborn. Now, here's the theory that changes everything. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank plays Milton Rockwell, a character who in the original script was revealed to be a literal vampire who has existed across centuries. There was an alternate ending where Rockwell encounters Mary's granddaughter at the Tears for Fears concert in 1980s. Think about that. The entire temporal structure of the film, the anachronistic music, the feeling that the time is unstable, it all serves a metaphysical premise that Safdie ultimately cut because he thought audiences weren't ready for it. But the DNA remains. The film still operates on vampire logic, characters who transcend their era, music that bleeds through decades, a protagonist who becomes immortalized through image and myth. Safdie didn't just make a film, he engineered a collision. Timothy Chalamet, who spent years preparing and invested his own capital as producer. Gwyneth Paltrow as a faded actress chasing lost glory. Kevin O'Leary, a businessman with zero acting experience. Abel Ferrara, the brutal filmmaker playing a mobster who seems ripped from his own movies. Tyler, the creator, as the best friend of Marty, a real ping pong champion who didn't know who the Safdies were. This isn't a cast, it's controlled chaos. Professional and amateurs creating a texture you cannot manufacture in acting schools. Every review will ask if this Safdie's Goodfellas moment, the frenetic pacing, the morally detestable protagonist, The camera that chases Chalamet through the hallucinatory New York streets just like a predator. The dark comedy executed with surgical precision. But here's what really matters. Safdie isn't imitating Scorsese. He's asking what Scorsese would look like if he consumed an entire decade of electronic music in Herzog's Hypnotic cinema, and then try to make a sports movie. The answer is Marty Supreme. Josh Safdie proved that Good Time and Uncut Gems weren't just accidents. They were the warm-up. This is a director who understands that the best films don't just tell stories. They alter your brain chemistry. They put you in a state where the boundaries between decades just collapse. When vampires hide in plain sight. Where a ping pong ball becomes a weapon of pure cinematic energy. Could this be Chalamet and Safdie's De Niro and Scorsese? Could this be the film that defies 2025? The vampire already knows the answer.